We focus on a very tight tolerance. Very bad things can happen to soils and bases if water is allowed to pool. You got a 1,500-pound animal with a rider decompacting your base. There's a lot to it.
What's up, all you crazy skid steer listeners out there? Thanks for supporting the Skid Steer Nation podcast. If you have not already subscribed to the podcast or found us on social media and liked us, please take a half a second, hit pause, and go do that. We'll wait for you. Anyway, guys, we've got another episode. We're getting back on track, weekly episodes. I know we took a little break there in January, had some things that we had to get worked out with the business, and I just didn't have time. So I apologize for that, but it is great to be back in the seat. It's great to be interviewing these hardworking business owners again, and I look forward to continue doing it. We've got a gentleman named Scott Macdonald. He's from the great state of Indiana. He's from a little town. I shouldn't say little. He's from a town of Mishawaka, originally from South Bend. Go Notre Dame. And avid hockey fan. And with that eclectic group, he is a specialist in arenas and horses and equestrian. So we're going to talk about him and his business, Elite Arena Solutions, right after I get done telling you where to buy the best American-made skid steer attachments on the market. If you haven't figured it out already, guys, this show is literally the Skid Steer Nation podcast, and it's sponsored by skidsteernation.com, your home for high-quality American-made skid steer attachments. From basic buckets to power rakes to everything in the middle, we've got it. We've vetted the manufacturers. We trust their process. The quality's top-notch. These guys will help. These attachments will help you increase your return on investment, make more money, and run your business smoother. So head over to skidsteernation.com for your next attachment need. And as we've mentioned a few times in the show, guys, we literally launched a marketing company in December. It's been a brainchild for a while leading up to that, but Throttled Up Marketing, it is getthrottledup.com. If you're in the land service excavation business, you're looking for a marketing company that is not exuberantly expensive, yet knowledgeable enough to help you grow your business. Well, guess what? That's the gap we filled with Throttled Up Marketing. No longer do you have to work with the kid in his mom's basement for $500 or the guy that wants $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to get started and a monthly fee. We have a team of highly qualified marketing experts. We can help you build your digital plan, move forward, and go that. So if you're interested in learning more about it, schedule a call at getthrottledup.com. You can find that in the show notes. All right, Scott, now that I'm done doing the obligatory plugs on my own businesses, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to talk with you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We were talking pre-show. You know, you've been around since 2017.
Yeah.
So you've got, quite a few years of experience. And you've got Elite Arena Solutions, which like your whole focus is on the equestrian industry, from what I can understand and see.
That's our sole focus. That's what we specialize in, and that's where we are taking it in the future.
Do you have a background with horses and equestrian, or did that just happen organically through being in business for 8 years?
We've had Western horses in my family, since I was a kid, but it kind of happened organically. More or less.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day. I feel like when guys just kind of organically fall into a niche, because then they don't have that fear of like, well, if I only do one thing, how much money am I losing? And I'm like, no, you're losing a ton of money because you're not doing just one thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of an obsession, right? I mean, we want to know everything there is to know about it in order to provide the best service that we can.
Yeah, and you can't do that when you're doing septic tanks, driveways, pads, equestrian arenas. It's just too much.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, man. We're going to start on a personal note, which we typically always dig right into business. And today we're going to go personal. You were just telling me you have a 13-year-old son who's actually away from home going to school because of hockey.
Yes. Yeah, he was invited to join a junior prep school in the New Hampshire area to play hockey, and because of academics, he's doing extremely well there. Tough on the family to watch him go, but extremely proud, and we're cheering him on every step of the way.
Yeah, it's funny to me. like American families are like, you sent a teenage child to live with another family. Like you've got to get that around the community.
Yeah. There's building programs where your child does live with another family, if you will, and continue education in hockey. This is actually a junior prep school.
Okay.
So there is a higher standard of academics, and it's a lifestyle of academics and athletics. So
nice. Yeah, one of our really close friends, his name's Tyler Renette. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that name or not.
Not off the top of my head.
No. So he's from Canada originally, and like same thing. I think he was 13 or 14 also when he got shipped out of home for hockey. Played for, I'm going to butcher this terribly. Regardless, he was drafted by the St. Louis Blues, and he was part of the Wayne Gretzky trade that got Wayne Gretzky to St. Louis. And I think he played a few minutes in the big league, but he played a ton here in Peoria for the ECHL team, I think, or the Rivermen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like he was just like the team captain and phenomenal. And then he went on, and lately he's been coaching the junior Blues in Springfield, Illinois. Now he got out of coaching, and now he's the GM of that program. So I saw on your Facebook page that you were all like, go, junior champs. And yeah. I was laughing about that because New Year's Eve, he excused himself from the party to sit in the living room by himself to watch juniors hockey because he was just so geeked out on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool sport. My nephew played travel hockey, not living anywhere else, but travel hockey. It's a commitment for the family.
To say the least. A lot of windshield time, for sure.
A lot of money, too.
That's part of it, too, yep.
Yeah, that ice bill, every family pays a piece of that ice for practice and games, and you get that ice bill, and you're like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. And then hotels and meals, and it all adds up.
Yeah, it sure does, man. Well, that's awesome. It's so exciting to see like a kid live out his dream, and it's awesome that you're able to support him in that.
Yeah, no matter which way it goes, at least we're giving it a shot.
Well, and the life lessons, right? Like the dedication, the commitment, the believing in yourself, even if he doesn't end up in the NHL, like those are going to serve him well for his entire life.
It just builds character, for sure.
100%. Well, this is the Skid Steer Nation podcast. We should probably talk a little bit about work.
Yeah.
So the equestrian side of things, man, like I'm really intrigued. Like what year did you notice that you were really going, man, this should be our core focus?
Probably about 2019.
Okay.
We did some work for a small private facility. Word got out, kind of rectified a few issues that they had. One thing kind of led to another, word of mouth, and then just started getting bigger, more involved, and then reached out to an agronomist that I work with hand in hand every day, who has been in the footing industry and racetrack industry for probably 30 years. And just started picking his brain and started working with him more and more, just to become a professional at it. And then just word of mouth and, keeping your nose to the grindstone, just keep on going. No real advertising other than minor stuff on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm still a real novice at, but it's just kind of kept on growing.
I think that's the other beauty of when you get into a really tight niche, especially something specialized like equestrian. Because everybody in that industry knows everybody else, and they're all just saying, call Scott, call Scott, call Scott.
Very much so. Very much so. And there are some bigger guys out there that have been around a long time. They do great work. I probably don't want to get as big as them, but for where I'm at this point, things are going great.
That's awesome. So what kind of services do you provide to them, and what makes you valuable versus just hiring a general excavating contractor in your area? So,
the general excavating contractor, although they may be great at landscaping, they may be great at putting in parking lots, all of those general excavation type projects, we focus on a very tight tolerance for the bases, for the sub bases, for the site water management. Very bad things can happen to soils and bases if water is allowed to pool. Decompaction, you got a 1,500 pound animal with a rider. decompacting your base. There's a lot to it. It starts at your subsoils and it ends at the footing layer.
Okay. Are you doing are you doing a lot of maintenance work? Are you doing fresh builds on new properties? Like what's kind of your specialty?
Yep, we do it all. From the beginning of a new outdoor to, we'll even do the pads for the new barns that are being built on them. We do maintenance and renovation as well. A lot of arenas out there, nobody puts the forethought into drainage, what type of footing they're putting out there. And then all of a sudden they get a horse out there that maybe gets injured or has an incident, and then they start looking for solutions to rectify those.
Yeah. I feel like you've got two beautiful things working in your favor, man. One, people like pets and animals well more than other people.
They're family members, right?
Oh, well, I could literally tell Tracy it's me or the dog, and I'll guarantee you I'll be sleeping outside tonight. Like, it's not even an option. And that's a family member, right?
Yeah.
Like pets and animals, they just have that special place in people's hearts. And then two, especially with horses, even an older one, in my opinion, is not inexpensive. So it's like protecting an investment in addition to the love you nurture and grow with it.
Correct. Everybody has, everybody has a budget for the animals that they have. Some of these horses can be very attainable, and some of them can be very, very expensive.
So people out there that don't understand equestrian horses, and I'm not asking you to say like something in your specific area, but how uncommon is it for a horse to be $100,000?
More common than you think.
Exactly. How uncommon is it for it to be over $250,000?
There, you're starting to get into the very high-end horses. Yes, they are available. They are out there. The genetics are out there too.
And if you just want a good run-of-the-mill horse for your property behind your house that you're going to go ride and feed and just spend time with, can you even pick one up anymore for less than $5-8 grand?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
you can.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
There's a horse for everybody.
Okay,
for sure.
But just to kind of show you that range of market, I mean, it's
huge. Oh, sure. And you may get one that, you may just have to work with quite a bit. Maybe have some training along with it, and just spending time with it. And then you may have one that you guys just, for whatever reason, you guys are not going to be compatible.
Yeah. I just look at it more along the lines of for you with your business, like if somebody's got a $50,000 horse and you say, hey, this drainage is bad and it's going to be $700-800, I highly doubt you ever hear that's too expensive. It's more along the lines of I want to get a second opinion is my thought.
Sure. Yeah. Which we recommend, and we work with, the property owners to assist them however we can. Everybody's got a budget. I've got a budget. You've got a budget. And sometimes our services don't align with the customer's budget, but obviously we'll do everything we can to help them or point them in the right direction.
So just out of curiosity, like if your services do not align with their budget, how do you handle that? Do you just like find them somebody else, or do you figure out a way to work with them?
I'm always there to bounce ideas off of. I don't like turning away business, and I don't like turning away somebody who's genuinely in need of help. But at the same time, these machines are expensive. The materials are expensive. Just getting them to the job site are expensive. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just not in the customer's budget.
Yeah. Have you ever had to like break up a large project into small sections and work it over a time frame?
Yeah, that can be done as well. The risk is environmental changes. If I leave a project halfway completed, I don't know what's going to happen to that project while I'm gone. So there might be some rework when you revisit the project that may add to the total overall cost. But yeah, it can be done in steps.
Yeah. Do you love going to work every day?
I do. I really do.
I mean,
I really do.
Just in our few minutes of this interview, I've already learned, you grew up with horses, so you have a fondness for them. And the way you talk about how you approach a job, like it's meticulous. And I'm like, this dude loves going to work every day.
The meticulous part is what you have to have in the equestrian construction world. It has to be right.
Is that who you are as a person, though, or do you have to fight through tendencies to be like, that's good enough?
No, it's just who I am. I cannot leave. I do one project at a time. I do not leave that project until everybody's satisfied. I'm satisfied. I can prove my work, and they know when I leave that the job is completed correctly.
That's awesome.
Period. That's the way it has to be.
Yeah. Now, my first thought is like Indiana. How many horse farms could actually need your types of services? It's not Kentucky, but it's a more prevalent in the Midwest than you'd ever think when you start looking at the numbers, isn't it?
Oh, sure. It's not advertised. Like until Yellowstone, nobody cared about horses, right? The show Yellowstone. Nobody cared. It was just nobody thought about it. There was no coolness to it, right? I think that show did a lot for the equestrian world as far as the lifestyle that's really out there and the true heartbeat of America that's always been there. It just doesn't get advertised. Right.
So how big of a service area do you have to cover in order to stay busy being in Indiana?
So all my semi and dump truck and everything, I can go, outside of Indiana state lines. So I will service Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, surrounding states. It's just a matter of the right customer and the right project, and we're happy to accommodate you wherever you're at.
Yeah, and for people that don't understand where he's located, like Mishawaka, South Bend, it's just a little west to center of Indiana on the northern side of it. So you can be to Michigan in 50 minutes, hour and a half Illinois, 2 hours Ohio, probably my guess.
Yep, and that's a big reason being right on Michigan's doorstep there. I'll cross over the border, quite often. So then, that opens the door to being able to service other states, if you will. Once you get your IRP tags and, you can go wherever.
Yeah. Do you ever go to New Buffalo to the Stray Dog Cafe and just find a bunch of those rich people and ask them if they have horses?
No, that was a great restaurant, though.
Yeah, it's a cool rooftop up there. I like it.
Yeah, yes, it is.
I like it. I just feel like those are the type of towns that you'd be like, how do we figure out who has horses? Because association of horses is that you're well off. And when you go to vacation towns like New Buffalo, you're obviously well off. There's got to be a crossover.
Yeah. I think in that type of setting, I think everybody's kind of more interested in the beer that they're having in the Sunset. So
that's so
I
true.
never really brought it up there.
Yeah. You used to do, or you originally started in 2017 as a land management company, correct?
Yeah, it was very heavily oriented towards more deer habitat, natural habitat, hunting, that aspect to it. It was a great concept. The problem I found with that is you run into, as much as I love doing that type of work, I ran into just as many property owners that love doing that type of work themselves. And it was hard to stay in the habitat management world as far as profitability. So I ended up doing some more, general excavation stuff just to keep the lights on. But then the arena side evolved from there.
Yeah. I think that's a great question that sometimes even I overlook when we look at things too. The customer that we want to serve, because without them, we make $0. Mm-hmm. Granted, we've already associated they have this issue or they have this need. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we don't ask, does the customer enjoy doing that? And do they even want me to do the work?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I gave out a lot of advice, which I'm happy to do, but a lot of the times it just didn't turn into work for 10-point land management.
Yeah. And it's true though, right? I mean, it's even got a cool name, habitat management. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want to say that, we're doing habitat management at the farm this weekend? Yeah. We're planting clover, we're fixing this, we're clearing shooting lines. It just sounds like a fun weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Where if you say, hey, we're going to dig a foundation and bring in concrete trucks, I'm hiring that out.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. What a cool point. Shine some light on that. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong in any area here. 2017, you're going into 8 years of business.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an enormous word of mouth reach in a very small niche market, which is working very, very well for you. And just proof of concept, you guys out there, you have a very, very limited presence for a business, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, do you like
social media wise, you mean?
Do you have a website?
I don't.
I was like, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, no, I don't have a website yet. I have been working with a gal at a company called TrueTex. They're a footing provider. They did a really good job on their website, and I'm exploring options to do it. I just haven't got there quite yet. Facebook has been it's been great for a small business owner as far as exposure wise.
And to me, I wasn't saying, hey, you need one. I was looking at more the lines of like, if you really just focus on one niche and you start getting your name getting chattered in those circles,
sure,
that's really all you need to be successful.
Sure. And a little bit of luck, right?
Yeah. Define luck. Like, are you getting out of bed and going out and knocking on doors and driving a truck every day, like doing work? Because I think people see that and like, man, he does a lot of work. Luck's the lottery, in my opinion, not business.
Right.
If you go out, you can call 100 people today and you get 99 no's, but that one yes could be the biggest project you ever do.
Oh,
like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I'm like, you're not lucky. You made 100 phone calls.
Right.
It's the fruits of your labor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the guy that sits on his couch going, I can't wait till I get that lucky break. And I'm like, guess what, Holmes? You ain't never going to get it.
Never. It's not coming.
It's just not coming. Yeah. Nope, not at all. What else should we chat about, man? We're kind of cruising through those things. I was hoping we get a little more in depth in some of those.
What would you like to talk about?
Man, I don't know. We've hit family life, we've hit kids, we've hit the equestrian industry, we've hit the 10-point business. Let's talk for a minute. You're 8 years into this industry, whether it be somebody that's a couple years behind you or just starting out. What are a couple lessons that you would recommend to them, whether it be in the back end of the business and the office side of things, or even in the field?
I would say the hardest part, I spent a lot of time in the office in project management and engineering and the financial sides of commercial construction for many years prior to going out on my own. I think there are some phenomenal operators out there. They were born and raised in a dozer, in a traco, whatever the case may be. But they were never taught the business side. They had never had any experience in the business side or how to manage money, capital, whatever the case may be. I would say for anybody coming into the business, have the backing that you need, prioritize your entrance, and make sure you're well seated for the long haul, because the start is not easy, and it's not for the weak-hearted at all.
No, it's not. It's not. What's your current back office digital technology stack look like? Like what tools are you using to run your business?
So right now I'm running dual slope laser, machine controlled, both Leica and Cytec. I'm going to the 3D side of things here real shortly. It's the 2D side gets you in. The 3D side is a little bit harder and takes a lot more background work to make it successful. I do have quite a bit of experience with CAD and 3D modeling in my previous construction career, so that helps a lot. But that's where I'm heading now.
I'm talking about the back end of your office to run it. Are you using a notebook, a spreadsheet? You've got digital tools. You said you spend a lot of time in your business project managing. Mm-hmm. How are you keeping that organized, or what are you doing in the back end? Like, what tools work for you?
Microsoft Office. That's Microsoft a big part. Office. That's a big part of everything. Yep. Keeping like I'm sure you're aware of the calendars, the contacts, your spreadsheets. even data from the type of sands that I order or buy, purchase, all that stuff. I need to keep that documented as a reference for further work.
Yep. Yeah, I think Microsoft Suite and OneDrive, it's the same as Google and their Suite and Google Drive.
Yeah.
We just got turned on to Google Drive, and I was like, I refuse to change because I just know it.
Yeah. And I've been on the Microsoft side of things for a lot longer, and I haven't quite made the jump to the Google Docs yet.
Yeah, so. and because like you with OneDrive, you still have access to all those documents when you're in the field working.
Mm-hmm.
And then to me, that's why I always drive everybody.
That's definitely on the to-do list.
Yeah, but I tell everybody that's like building out their back office, I'm like, have an online cloud storage for all your stuff, whether it's Microsoft. I don't care who it is, right? Like Google Drive is one we use. Because when you're out with that customer and you need to check that sand report, you can just pull it right up on your phone. If you need to check your calendar or change some things around, because it's all connected, whether you're at your computer or on your phone, and it just makes life easier. Sure,
and connectivity has become it's so readily available now. Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing what the tools that we have at our fingertips now.
Oh, isn't it, Scott? Like these young kids today, man. It was just 15 years ago, maybe 18 years ago, that we had to type 3 times to go from A to C on a flip phone while we were texting people.
To send a text.
And pay 5 or 10 cents to send it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I even forget about those days.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when they came out with that first flip phone with the color screen. I'm like, this thing's cool.
Oh, yeah.
You could play Tetris on it or something.
The old Nextels.
Oh, the walkie-talkie feature? The coolest thing, right?
Oh, man.
And now you see phones putting walkie-talkie apps on their phone, and kids are like, oh, have you tried Boxer? And I'm like, yeah, no, we live that with a can and a string, and then with a phone called Nextel. Like, we're good. I'm good.
Exactly.
Oh, man. People that are listening to this, they've never watched the video. They're like, how old is this guy?
Right.
Oh, man.
It happens fast, doesn't
it? Doesn't it? It was 42 was the year that it was like, whoop, straight down.
Yeah.
Like the eyesight started fading faster.
Yeah.
The hair turned gray quicker.
Oh, yeah.
The metabolism didn't work as fast.
Yeah. Yep. Shoveling isn't as much fun anymore, you know?
Oh, we actually moved into a neighborhood with an HOA, so snow removal's off my docket.
Yeah. Just shoveling anything, shoveling dirt, you know, the dirt side of it. It's just not as fun anymore. No, not at all. I did try to get back into, I shouldn't say try. I got back into working out like back in August, and it's almost a necessity now at our age. Like, it's the lack of movement that causes more lack of movement. I'm a firm believer in that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I 100% agree. I don't exercise enough, you know, to be honest, just like everybody else probably. It's just time and commitments and everything else. Diet. Oh, being on the road a lot, diet just suffers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it sure does. Yeah, I just find if you're sick for 2 days and like on that third day you go to stand up, you're like, oh, I'm so stiff. I'm still sick. Like, no, you're not sick. It's because you haven't moved.
Exactly.
You know, I remember that personal trainer years and years ago, and I was like, my legs, I can't walk from the workout.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, don't work out, just walk. He's like, walk for 20 minutes. And 10, 15 minutes in, you're like, oh, it's all loosening up. Yeah. Movement actually more movement solves the problems that you create from movement.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. What's your, so you're running like the 2D grade boxes, I'm assuming?
Right now I'm running the Minotaur. It's a 2D dual slope dozer blade, which is extremely nice, not having the wheels out front.
So you're running the actual Minotaur skid steer from Case?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That fits in all the areas you need to fit in?
It does for me. Weight, horsepower, and again, not having the wheels out front on the dozer blade helps me get up tighter to, you know, the inside walls and stuff of the indoor arena, and just really it suits what I need. Are there times where I need to bring in a dozer? Sure, there are. Are there times where I wish the Minotaur weighed a little less and was a little smaller? Yeah, but it fits far more categories than doesn't for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, because we had a 420B, it's the Minotaur's little brother.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And then when I actually went up to Case in Wisconsin, they had the Minotaur in the shop, and I was able to like see it. And they were replacing some cooling components and playing with stuff in it. But it's a big machine.
It is a big machine for sure, and it'll you need the trailer, you need the correct trailer for it because it will put a wear and tear on a trailer for sure.
Because I think I had a 14,000 pound, and I'm like, oh, great, I can take the skid steer, but no attachments.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I run a 40,000 pound right now, and I'm probably gonna end up doing something different. Just got to get there.
Yeah, because what's the weight of that? Do you know off the top of your head? It's in the 13s, isn't it?
It's about 18,000.
18,000.
Mm-hmm. She's heavy. She's right up there with the dozer class. Small dozer classes.
Yeah, I remember when Case started showing that concept, and like people were going bananas over it.
Yeah. I came from a Deere 333G. I knew when I ordered it, it was just going to be a different machine. I had that in my mindset, and you get on the internet and you hear all the dozer guys, well, that's never going to be a dozer, and it's, got this drawback and that drawback. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be a dozer, right? So to me, I knew what I was getting into. I actually reached out to Brian at Diesel Iron when he did his review of it. Super great guy. Just shot him a couple questions about it and his thoughts. He replied. He didn't have to take time to do that, but he did. So I was pretty pumped about that. Appreciate you, Brian. And ended up going through with the purchase of it anyway. And it's been a great machine so far. He was right in his depiction of it. It's not a. It took me a while to get used to it. I can tell you that it was not an easy learning machine, and without the 2D machine control side of it, it would have been even harder to harness.
What was so different?
It's just the weight and balance of it, and trying to hold grade freehand. It's the vision of the blade tips is just not there. It is at certain angles, but then it disappears on you real quick. So the free-handing is, you can rough in no problem with it. You'll get used to it. But the finishing touches, it fights you on it a lot.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, I'm more of a rough framer, that quarter inch,
Right. That's why I spent the extra money on the machine control, because the tedious stuff is just, there's an art to that too.
That's the art, in my opinion. Those guys that can do the finish work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you watch a good trim carpenter, and you're like amazed at how much trim he can throw up in a house in a day and no gaps.
Takes a special person.
But it's that finish work. And I think this industry is the same way. Like anyone can dig a hole.
Right.
What are you going to do with it once you got the hole?
Exactly.
So, nope, absolutely, man. So what is your thought process for the next 24, 36 months? Just, are you happy where you're at? You're doing the work that you want. It's just you as a one-man show. You love this. It's exactly what you want, or you have some changes that you're thinking about making?
I'm going to grow a little bit. I'm going to take it very slow. Again, I don't have it in me to just trust somebody to go out there and put down the finished grades that I would put down. The plus minus aspect of it is too high. If it's off enough, it's going to fail. And so I got to be very hands-on. I don't know if I'm willing to relinquish some of that responsibility, if you will, to somebody else. So we'll see how it goes. On the equipment side of it, trailer space starts to become very critical. There are a lot of pieces of equipment I'd like to buy, but then does it become cost prohibitive to doing multiple mobilizations rather than rent it? So Yeah, we're going to grow a little bit, but not fast. It's going to be a very deliberate step-by-step process.
Yep. Yeah, you can tell you come from an engineering background.
Yeah. Some good,
So,
some bad, right?
yeah, I'm more like, let's just rip through it. And if it fails quick, and then we can make an adjustment and roll forward.
And I have been, trust me, like we've all been working on our own stuff and we think, man, who designed this thing, right? And I've been pulled out of the office a couple times and been like, what were you thinking? And it's like, yeah, you know what? In my world, everything's perfect. There's a whole lot of factors that go into design, and some of it the real world outcome is a little different than what we thought it was in CAD, right?
Yeah. It's like Peoria, Illinois, where I live, was the home. I still call it the home of Caterpillar. I mean, the 100 people live in Texas, but everybody else is here.
Right.
Like all the guys that I've known that work in excavation are just like, if those engineers would just spend 1 year with the mechanics or in the floor assembling it, like just something, not coming straight from a schooling from a desk to a desk.
Yep.
He goes, the amount of rework that would have to be done in engineering I think it would drop significantly, because some of the stuff they kick out, you're just scratching your head of like, you obviously don't put a wrench on this, do you?
Right. And there is a lot of truth to that. It depends on corporate policies and how workflow is at the whatever, but there is some truth to that for sure.
Well, man, I swear to God, those engineers in the auto industry are paid to do that stuff to the engine compartment, so you can't work on it.
I'm 100%. I'm sure there is.
There's an incentive.
They get creative on warranty times and everything else, I'm sure. And I had quite honestly, when I started this business, I had no idea the amount of just in the field wrenching I was going to be doing. I've always been pretty mechanical, and my dad was an airframe and power plant mechanic and worked on jet engines and all kinds of stuff. So I was, raised knowing how to turn a wrench. Not a professional mechanic by any means, but I had no idea how much I would be working on stuff that breaks, stuff that just wears out, just the odds and ends that happen, like you just don't expect. And then all of a sudden you're down in the field and you can't wait for somebody to come help you,
Yeah, it's like the old story, right? Like, oh, I'm going to buy this machine for $80,000 and I can make $200,000 with it. I'm like, yeah, but did you put another $16,000 in the budget for maintenance and, and parts? The machines aren't cheap. Like, they're not cheap.
No, they are not. And then some of the technology stuff too, which I run into every now and then. It's advertised really well. They make it sound like you hop in this machine, you hit a button, and the machine is just going to do the work for you. And nothing could be further from the truth. Every now and then I'll get a customer that has been on the internet and they know that they need machine grade control for their arena, so they try and rent one, and they don't know how to set up the laser, how to set up benchmarks, how to make it repeatable. There's always that aspect to it as well.
Well, I mean, it's like saying Da Vinci just used colored paints and a brush.
Right.
So I give them credit for trying. Like, I get, as the consumer, I never knock a consumer for wanting to try to do work themselves.
Not at all.
Yeah. If you can learn a new skill in the process and you get the patience to do it, then I think everybody should try to learn something new on a regular basis.
Yeah, and it make you appreciate, seeing it done correctly, I guess, if there's any silver lining to it on my side. Unfortunately, sometimes with these materials, once they're contaminated or mixed in a certain way, there's no saving it. Your compaction results won't be the same, and you won't get the same use out of them that you originally needed. So there's always that part of it too.
Yeah. How do you test compaction?
So I've got a Clegg impact test. So and then I've got the hydrometer that I can test the moisture contents and everything else. Geotags it, pictures, everything, so I know all my compaction, and my customers know my compaction's on point.
So do you build a report for them that you provide during or after the project?
I do at every phase of the construction. Mm-hmm.
Did it take you a long time to figure out your process for that, or just with your background was just seemed second nature?
Second nature, but I did have some guidance in what I needed, why I needed it. Again, that's why I work with an agronomist. Just that's part of the deal when you hire me to do some work. He comes with it, just for that oversight. He's a soil scientist. I'm not. So between the two of us, that's things get done and they get done correctly.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you're not running around looking for $1,000 projects to pay the bills, are you?
No, I'm not. No.
You can tell by your process and like your legitimacy. I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong. The old cowboy days and the Western mentality, the Western discipline mentalities is, man, you're not a rider if you're not just riding on what ground you're given. That is true. I mean, but when you get into the English disciplines and everything, that you're kind of setting a stage for performance. Even in the Western disciplines too, they're two totally different arenas. The horses require different settings between those disciplines. If you're taking a Western horse and doing slide stops, that's not going to work on a dressage arena where you're just going to tear up the base and risk injury to the horses and everything else. It's a fascinating world once you start getting into it.
Yeah. Speaking of that world, something that I would like to take a few minutes to talk about. You mentioned that you're just recently completed a rehabilitation arena that is going to be used for people.
So yeah, a lot of a couple situations have come up where I'm actually able to help dedicate some time, maybe give back a little bit, if you will. There's a ring in South Bend where they do therapeutic horseback riding for humans with, I don't know, disabilities, if you will, whether it be mental or physical or whatever. It's proven that when they spend time with the horses and get to ride around on them, it's very stimulating and it does a lot of good for them. So I've got two places that we're working on right now just to try and give back and do what we can.
That's awesome. So you do that pro bono then? You just like, are you volunteering?
Just cover the cost. Yeah, cover the cost, and then I'm happy to donate some time. My son donated. He did a bunch of caretaking there over the summer. He volunteer, and it's great for the kids to volunteer. It's great for the facility to have them, and it's an all around good thing.
Yeah, I think more people need to volunteer.
I would love to, but man, our world, it's so 100 miles an hour anymore. It's crazy.
No, but if you schedule it out in advance, you work around it. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
But it's just like sometimes just that break from the normal routine and then to see the impact you have on other people.
Yeah.
Like I have not volunteered in quite a while, but I used to volunteer on a very regular basis with like inner city youth kids, teaching them how to fix and repair bicycles. And we had like a program that would go through, and at the end of the program, the bike they worked on, they got to keep. And then we also provided them with helmets, tools, pump, all that stuff. And like to watch a kid get that look on their face, like freedom, I have my own means of transportation.
Sure.
You know, things that our kids take for granted because they just go to the store and get a new one when there's breaks.
Exactly. I mean, you don't even realize the impact that you're making on somebody's life, and for others, it's just taken for granted, and you don't even think about it. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we do a fundraiser every year where we try to raise money for the Meals on Wheels program for our local area. Yeah, so I don't know what we did this last year. I kind of excused myself for a year with my personal life I had going on, but we were raising like $30,000 a year, which covers over a month's of cost to feed over, I think they had 1,200 seniors in the program and pets.
Oh, awesome.
But, It's just some of those things. Just remember, like, hey, we can say we had a bad day. I'm stressed out. I got these other 3 projects. There's customers yelling at me. You know how many people would love to have those problems because it means they have a warm house and clean clothes and whatever else comes with it. That it's just to take a half a step back from moment to moment to just remind yourself that we're doing pretty good.
For sure. I think for a lot of us, it does a lot of good to just be humbled every now and then, right? Just give back for whatever reason you can, however you can.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like people have helped you through your career get to where you are, or you're in your personal life, whether it be a family member, a friend, or a guy you reach out to asking for advice on soil.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So instead of that same context is like they're volunteering into your career, your life.
Correct. Yeah, I had many questions. Right. It didn't just automatically come. And sometimes there's, like we were talking about, the engineer, spending some time in the shop. There's a lot of reading you can do and research you can do, but having a hands-on, real-world experience, there's no better teacher.
No better teacher. Totally agree. That's my little volunteer tangent. I'll get off of it now. What's your toolkit look like on your truck? I think I hear guys all the time, like that mix of like having everything you need, but not too much, or keeping things charged. Like what does your setup look like since you're traveling sometimes multiple hours away?
I can tell you, I would love to have just a dedicated tool trailer, right? It never fails. Like, you'll bring your mechanic tool kit with you, and then you'll need heavy equipment tools. Like, it never seems to fail. And then you run to Harbor Freight or Sears or wherever you get your tools, and then you bring them back to the house, and you open up your tool drawer, and then you got 6 of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I need to invest in a tool trailer for sure. You're always caught off guard by something, or you swear you have that tool with you, and you just don't have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys we've been working with, they've got that one truck that always does everything, or they've got a little bit of space on their trailer. And I'm like, if you were to calculate how many down hours, fuel, gas, driving to stores, because sometimes you guys are in some remote locations.
That's correct.
And that's when the shit hits the fan. It's never when you're next door to the parts store.
Always. It's always an inconvenience. There's never a warning light that comes on in the cab says, hey, in 12 minutes, this is going to break. You know what I mean? It's just...
It'd be nice if it did.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, they're basically building like job boxes, like full-size job boxes with compartments for tools, compartments for consumables, compartments for resources for their employees. Like they're even going so far as like getting laminated sheets with like vendor contact numbers, service parts manager, and like taping that in there. So even if somebody's not there that has that number, anyone has access to it. And
sure.
And they're starting, like, after 3 to 4 months, they're going, oh, I just realized that we still have breakdowns, but they don't, like it's not as crippling as it was when you have nothing, or you're always driving an hour and a half one way to get something from the store.
Right. It's not as dramatic of an impact. Yeah.
It's not as dramatic of an impact. And then when the team knows they have tools, they know they have contact numbers, the freak out level stays lower too.
Sure. Unless you're like me and you're by yourself, and then the freak out level is always just high anyway. So
yeah, but it's not affecting anyone else. So you freak out all you want, man.
Exactly.
Oh, man. How remote of locations do you typically end up in?
Not terribly bad. I get into some rural areas, but nothing where I haven't been able to procure something that I've needed or have it shipped to me if I've needed it. Small. I love small town America, right? But nothing terrible. It's it's more like I'm working in Carmel, Indiana, which is more urban when it comes to horse arena stuff than a lot of them I've ever done.
Yeah, I had a good friend that lived in Carmel, Indiana.
Great little town.
Yeah, for those listening, it's like literally, would you call it a south suburb of Indianapolis?
Yeah, and it's so blended anymore that You got everything you need at your fingertips for sure. Great food, great venues, restaurants, but still a small town feel, right? It's still Indiana. Everybody's still really, really friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I think downtown Indianapolis and St. Louis are probably two of my favorite Midwest cities to go to. I mean, living in Illinois, I avoid Chicago at any and all costs if possible.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the congestion, number one, right? But then you get down there and it's filthy and the policies, and not to get political, but
the Blackhawks.
but you go to I mean, you go down to the Colts game in Indianapolis, and like the streets are clean. Shula's is next door. People are dancing, high fiving in the street. St. Louis, the same way. Ballpark Village. I'm like, this is what a town should be, and I think you lose that feel once you get. I'm going to just throw a number out there. Once you get over 1.5 million people.
Yeah. I'd much rather go to a Blues game than the Blackhawks.
Yeah, and like what does a town with 900 million people not have that a town of 6 million people has? A couple theaters.
Yeah.
Crime rate, more congestion in the roads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chicago can get tough to navigate, especially if you're pulling truck and trailer and everything else, and the Dan Ryan and stuff can get a little squirrely driving through there to get to Wisconsin or wherever I'm working. But yeah, I've had to pull equipment through there a few times, and I tell you what, man, those semi drivers that do that stuff routinely through there, my hat's tipped to them, because that gets squirrely real quick.
It gets super squirrely. And then like we did work for a remote parking, just like truck parking for semi trucks.
Yeah.
So it was outside of the city. You could like park your truck there, go home, come back. I figured out why all those guys drive crazy. They're all Eastern European, man. like, that's how they drive over there. Like I'm like, oh, this makes a lot more sense now. They just get in and go, and you're going to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any international travel?
Just to Canada, New York. You might as well call that international. Like we went to some places overseas where like I don't know how the death rate isn't through the roof just from vehicle accidents, and they have 0 accidents. Yeah,
but if you were to look at it from the outside, you're like, I'm not driving in that.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, whatever you want to call it, I haven't experienced any of that. So
yeah. But back to your hands-on experience with doing work, no better lesson. I always said that the best education I ever got was traveling to see how other cultures lived.
Oh, for sure.
And like just the enrichment and my eye opening to my surroundings locally now.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love meeting people from different cultures and stuff like that. I find it fascinating. I wish I had more time to travel. Maybe sometime in the future it'll be there. I'd like to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just talking, this was probably, I guess it was probably close to 10 years now, if I'm being honest, but I would bet it's exactly the same way it is today. But it was 6 hours outside of Moscow, Russia. There was only one restaurant in town, and it was literally in this lady's house, and the bathroom was an outhouse out back. And it was heated by a fireplace.
Yeah.
In 2014, 15.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think you'd see that anywhere in the world, and like that's normal everyday hat for these people.
Right. And they're comfortable. They're
happy as a clam, man.
Yeah. I think
you can only piss a Russian off by taking away the vodka. I'll tell you what, Scott, those people over there, like, you want to have one more? I'm like, yeah, I'll have one more. And then they order, and it would be another bottle. I'm like, no, I wanted a drink. They're like, this isn't a drink. I'm like, no, that's a bottle.
We had a foreign exchange student on our hockey team who was from Slovakia. And now, remember, I'm saying high school hockey at the time, and he, over there they drink vodka with lunch and dinner, and that's just normal for them.
Yeah,
so even at that young of an age, he couldn't figure out why we didn't.
Well, it's the devil's urine. That's why, Scott. Jesus, we're in the Rust Belt. Come on now. But I always wonder, and I think I've had this. I haven't looked at the numbers in a long time, but I just wonder what the alcoholism rates are in countries like that or Italy, where having wine at 13 with dinner. Like, is it it's like the kid that had access to his dad and his guns the whole life growing up that never had to get it out to show off to his friends because they weren't a secret. They were just like, yeah, they're here. Like, is alcohol the same way in those countries where the alcohol rate is way lower just because there's no appeal to do it behind their back or make it a party?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that for sure. Sure. I think we glamorize it here, and kids can't wait to get their hands on it. And maybe in other countries where it's just not treated as a big deal, then there's no allure to it, or less of an allure. I think all the kids are going to go through their phases with it, but just my humble opinion, because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hate me if you want to, but I might get them drunk really bad, really early.
Yeah,
because if they have that bad of a hangover at a young age, they're like, I don't ever want to touch it again.
Yeah, but man, I think hangovers affect you and I differently at this age than they do the kids. So I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. What kind of projects are you working on right now, Scott? Like, what do you got? You have any big ones or anything big coming up that you're excited to work on that's different or unique?
Right now we're working in Carmel, Indiana. I've got a few lined up that are going to go. One in Iowa. Then there's another one in Detroit, Niles, Michigan. So definitely have work lined up.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We talked about covering a couple states, and I'm thinking like day drive, work for the day. Like Iowa and Detroit, like that's going to be some overnights, I take it. Like, so you're traveling larger areas now.
Oh yeah. When I mobilize, I'm going to be there till the job's done, obviously. But yeah, no, I come home on the weekends and back to work, the next week, so.
You're saying this very nonchalantly. We've been talking for an hour, and you're like, "Yeah, I could do a little bit of work here, a little bit of work." I'm like, no, man, you're traveling and staying there.
Yeah, most definitely.
If your name started getting out in this niche more and more, and like more good customers, the ones you want to work for, wanted you, like how big of an area are you willing to travel?
I guess that's to be determined.
Would you go to Louisville?
Yeah. Yeah, I would go to Louisville. I mean, that's, I've got we're in the works with a saddle club down in southern Indiana right now on their Western outfit. So, I mean, yeah, I'd go to Louisville. Not a problem.
Would you say that's the only knock about being in such a niche specific industry like equestrian is that you have to have a large service area because there's just not enough arenas in 100-mile radius around you to keep you busy that's going to constantly need work or improvements?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get serious about it and you're going to do true arena construction, yeah, you're going to travel. I mean, as of right now, that's just the way it is. There are a lot of smaller projects, but again, it's does the budget fit the the project that I'm going to the service that I'm going to be able to provide.
Right.
There is still very much hey, can we till up this dirt and throw some sand down and can I ride? Well, absolutely you can. But I will advise the risk of injury to horses and lameness and all that fun stuff. And are you going to be able to ride on it year round? No. I mean, you're not. If it's rained an inch, 2 days before, it's going to be mud. You know what I mean?
Right.
So can you do it? Yeah. Can you do it on an extremely tight budget? Yeah. But if you want to ride or provide boarding and training and everything else where you have to remove the weather out of it, that's where the money comes in. And unfortunately, like I say, it's not a cheap game. It's not a beginner's game either.
No, not at all. Not at all. It takes a lot of skill and knowledge. Outside of just dirt work, you've got to understand the animals, like you said, the soil, and a lot of components.
It all starts with your native soils, period. And then you graduate to elevating your native soils, water management, watershed, stormwater. It's more than just what's in the fence, right? where you're going to ride. It goes beyond that.
So I'm ignorant to like arena and construction, but when you talk about water management, are you talking about just grade for water shut off, or are you actually putting in drainage systems underneath these arenas?
There are two ways to go about it. You can do a down drain system where let's say you get rainwater that hits the arena, filters through your sand footing, gets into the drain through base, captured in piping, then piped out. Those are extremely expensive because the tolerances of materials that you have to have are extremely expensive. Most of the time, those spec materials are not going to be local. It's not going to be like a DOT spec material that you can just, call the quarry and get. They're going to be trucked in from somewhere special or produced somewhere special, and they're extremely cost prohibitive. The other is to have a non-permeable base where you are shedding off water, and then you either pipe it or swale it, or you manage it in a form where it's not going to flood the rest of your property or flood your neighbor's property.
Right.
And then as far as the sand footing or the cushion layer, as it's sometimes called, you got to have a certain moisture content, right? You've been on the beach and you've walked on the sand where the waves throw onto the shore and it's nice and firm and you can walk on it nice comfortably, and then you step into the dry part of the sand and it's thick and it's heavy to walk in and it's just not fun to be in. So you're constantly trying to regulate the moisture content of that footing.
So do you have to put irrigation systems in then?
Some of them, yes, absolutely.
Some of them?
Mm-hmm. It just depends on how serious they want to be with it. You can get away with it with water trailers. In the summertime, it's hard to keep up with a hot sand with a water trailer. You just can't get enough water on it to saturate it enough. It's like an oven. I mean, that sun's hitting it all day.
Evaporation,
and then you run a horse out there, you run your drag on it, and then it just opens up, and then it just evaporates, extremely quickly. So yeah, water management irrigation is a big part of it.
Yeah, you're opening my eyes. Like it is sand, so you understand there's a little bit of water to it, but I didn't realize there was that much science to it.
Yeah,
just I've never been around it.
Yeah, no, most people haven't. And that's where a lot of people get in trouble when they call somebody and say, hey, I want an arena put in. Well, they don't necessarily know what they're giving you. They're just going to, put in some stuff that they can call the quarry and say, hey, what do you guys put in for arena sands? And the quarry might say, well, we saw a lot of mason sand. Well, mason sand by itself is not a proper, footing. Most single source sands they're not ideal for equestrian footing. They need to be blended, they need to be mixed, and it has to have certain sizes, angularities. There's a lot to it. And
is that something that you would be able to do on site if you were able to source the materials individually, or does it have to be?
Right. So every project that I do, I go and get samples. I get them to my agronomist that I work with hand in hand. He does all the testing, the blending. He prescribes how many tons of sand X I need, how many tons of sand Y I need. Then I'll grade them out in layers and then run the Harley rake through them with, without getting the Harley rake into the base, because you just spend a whole lot of time, money, and effort to getting that thing into perfect shape. And then get that blend. And then do our impact testing on top of that as well.
How deep do you typically go down to do that blending with the Harley rake?
So so on the English side, and this is where I say the Westerns and the English arenas are completely different. So hunter jumpers, example, you see them, they set up these cross rails and they jump over them. They've got the outfits and the attire, and it's kind of a showmanship. You're going to be 4.5 inch total profile. So you got to be extremely careful. And I set up a mast and a laser receiver so I don't drop that Harley rake into the base materials. So, and then after a period of time, you may have to come back and reblend it and then laser grade it out again for maintenance. That's the most important part of the English side of it. with the Harley rake.
So you typically have a 4 to 6 inch layer of sand on top of your bases, though, or
4.5 max. For
4.5
English.
max. Okay.
Max, yes, that's maximum.
Okay.
Anything other than that starts to get too thick. You start risking hyperextension or the rollover. It just on the horse. There's a whole lot of ligament damage that could happen. That's why I say it's not a beginner's game, because somebody's entrusting you to put a lot of effort into providing an equestrian service that's going to be successful for both them and their horse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Westerns, completely different ballgame. That's all clays, that's all sands, that's all different profiles. The depths are a lot different. You're asking that horse to do a completely different set of skills than the English are.
Right. Why do they call it English? Why not Eastern?
That's a good question.
Okay.
You caught me off guard with that one, because I have no idea.
You keep saying English and Western, and I'm like, wouldn't it be Eastern? Like, aren't we all English?
Yeah, that's probably from the horsemanship from a long time ago. I'm not. I guess I really don't even know the answer to that one.
Huh. Well, my job's done. I've stumped you on something topic in your industry.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Well, wrap it up, fellas. No, I'm kidding. Oh, man. That was really neat. I feel like I learned a lot that last 10 minutes there. Just like,
it goes on and on and on.
I could only imagine.
We're just really just touching a small portion of it. It's fascinating. It fascinates me every day. That's why I don't get too concerned about, am I, gonna line up this project or that one, because they're all unique. Every single one of them. As you know, I think you know that going from quarry to quarry, even in different counties, they may call one speck of sand, this, and it tests out different than the same whatever they're calling it at this quarry. Like, let's say you get a spec 23 if you're in Indiana over here, and you get a spec 23 in a different county over. They're different. They spec out different. They produce them differently. So that's the fascinating side of it, for me, and that's what keeps each and every one of them interesting.
Huh. It sounds like you found the perfect niche for you. I mean, I think I said that earlier, but with your engineering background, to be able to dig into the science of things, and then to have the love for horses that you had growing up with them, like, I feel like it's a perfect marriage that you happened to walk into by starting to go after habitat management. It's pretty neat to see.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing how things work out sometimes, and it truly is amazing to me. I find it fascinating and love it, and I'm excited where this little company is going to go. So.
That's so awesome. It's true what they say, though, right? God puts you where you need to be when you need to be there. So something on his heart had you wanting to get into equipment, and habitat management was the door breaker, and you had to go through those struggles. Maybe that's what you needed to appreciate the equestrian more. Who knows what it is, but the path was meant to be walked. That's pretty awesome.
Right. And life experience too, right? We've got a little bit of that behind us now. So
yes, we do. Speak for yourself, Scott. Damn it.
Right. Exactly.
How old are you, by the way?
46.
Okay. I'm 47. So
yeah. So,
90 years of experience on this damn episode. Listen
That's
up.
right. It shows,
kids.
Right?
It shows, all right. Yeah. It shows. I thought it'd make me look older. And Tracy's like, I think the gray makes you look more distinguished. That's the word. It's never handsome or prettier. It's always distinguished.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least somebody's complimenting you.
And then I'll be like, there's a distinguished gentleman from North Carolina, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a movie with Eddie Murphy. Never mind. Like, it's old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, Scott, man, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day. I mean, as a one-man band, every day is important to you, and staying on top of projects and the office and all that. So I really appreciate you carving a little time out to talk with me and share your story with the audience, and I truly appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thanks for reaching out. It was totally unexpected, but I'm sincerely thankful that you reached out. Thanks again.
No, absolutely. Guys, we're going to put a link to Scott's Facebook page for his business in the show notes if you want to go check out some of the equestrian centers and arenas. And I'm not sure I'm saying this all properly, but some of the work he does for the equestrian industry, please check it out, his Facebook page. I was looking at today, and there's some pretty neat photos in there. It's cool because it's a niche that we don't talk about or work in every day, even though it's the same excavation arena. So it was interesting for me. Until next Wednesday, guys, please stay safe, stay warm, shop at skidsteernation.com, and call me if you need marketing. It's simple. Men are simple. I got simple things I ask for. So guys, appreciate all of you listening, and we'll see you next week.